Good finally Friday evening, everyone, and happy Hanukkah. Tonight is the final night of the Jewish holiday, celebrating the rededication of the Second Holy Temple in Jerusalem and encouraging the introduction of light and education into communities. The celebration has an especially important tie to Billings, after an ethnically motivated crime in 1993 kick-started a movement for the Magic City community to come together for peace, and inspired people across the world to do the same. The community stand against hate came after several varied hate crimes across the city at the time, but most notable and arguably famous was when a Jewish child's window was destroyed, partly due to the family displaying a menorah during Hanukkah. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Ren Wadsworth in for John Martin tonight. We want to take some time to talk about this historical moment in Billings history, popularly known as Not in Our Town, that has inspired many to take a stand against discrimination, even 30 years later. Tonight, the Montana Jewish Project tells us their story and how they're aiming to continue the fight against hate through education. The winter of '93 in Billings, Montana, and actions taken during this time has now become a worldwide inspirational tale. This tale, as tales often do, led to the creation of new stories. Several documentaries were made, and a national movement was formed. But the Montana Jewish Project in Helena argues that the most powerful thing to come from this tale is the story itself and what it can teach us.
Those of us who've lived in Montana for any amount of time, we're aware that anti-Semitism and hate crimes have been growing. We're very fortunate to have a volunteer who writes curriculum. And we really wanted to reach out and think about how is it that we can make a difference to try to improve the lives of kids, all kids, in classrooms at a younger age. And so the idea behind it was certainly not any kind of religious instruction, and certainly not even just focusing on Hanukkah, but really this idea of how is it that we can come together and respect each other no matter what our differences are.
For the second year, the Montana Jewish Project is dispersing what they call curriculum packs to classrooms across Montana. The packs include the story of the Christmas menorahs, as well as a classroom menorah, candles, a dreidel, and gilt, so students can learn more about the Jewish culture in the classroom story. These packs are given to classrooms and schools who ask for them. Stanfeld notes that most of the orders come from smaller towns in Montana or schools on or bordering reservations. She says this exemplifies how these issues transcend one or two groups and believes that it is through education and outreach that we can make a better state. Well, there is still plenty more to go over tonight, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we'll turn things over to meteorologist Mark Haka for our first look at the forecast.
Good Friday, everyone. Well, today mild, although a little cooler in eastern Montana due to a cold front, but still temperatures at or above average. Down to 32 in Miles City with that colder air, but still mild in the Billings area, 46, 41 in Sheridan, 39 up at Lewistown, 44 in Livingston, low 30s, Missoula, Kalispell. They have inversions in that part of the state, keeping it cold. Radar satellites showing mostly clear skies over our viewing areas. Clouds are moving into Red Lodge right now and Cody, but we're not expecting anything in the way of precipitation. Winds right now sustained 16 miles per hour in Livingston, generally under 10 miles per hour in Billings, Sheridan, and also the Miles City area. Billings 34 at 7, temperatures dropping to 30 at 9 o'clock with increasing clouds at least briefly. Clear skies Miles City and colder down to 22 by 9 o'clock. Sheridan, you're going to be looking at 30 at 7 down to about 28 at 9. What you see is what you get. I'll have that coming up.
Alrighty, thank you for that, Mark. On the crime tracker tonight, several county sheriff's offices in south central and southeastern Montana are on the lookout for a 19-year-old felon who's charged with multiple crimes out of Gallatin County and is now on the run after removing his electronic monitor last Tuesday. The suspect's name is Marshall Ladd Gallagher. Here's a photo of the teen now on your screen. The sheriff's office says he's 5 foot 11 inches tall, weighs 200 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. The sheriff's office also says Gallagher was last seen with 2 young men in Park City, Montana just yesterday. Law enforcement also believes that a stolen vehicle from Belgrade, Montana was later recovered after being abandoned on Interstate 90 near Columbus. This may also be related to his escape. And right now, multiple law enforcement agencies in the region are asking anyone to please make sure to secure your vehicles and buildings. And more importantly, call 911 if you come in contact with Marshall Gallagher. And here in Billings, a man has been arrested in relation to a shooting and vandalism incident that happened just after 10 last night. Billings police responded to the 900 block of Yellowstone River Road to multiple reports of gunshots in the area. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, but at the scene, officers found shell casings in front of a residence and several bullet holes in a vehicle on the property. Neighbors were able to provide a name and vehicle description of a possible suspect, and according to BPD, a vehicle matching that description was located, attempting to return to the scene while officers were still processing evidence. Officers identified the suspect, 26-year-old Robert Cross McChristy, as the driver with firearms in the car. McChristy is facing 13 felony counts of criminal endangerment, 1 felony count of mischief, and misdemeanor charge of a firearm within city limits. He's currently in custody at the Yellowstone County Detention Facility awaiting arraignment. And we are hardly through the holiday season, which means there are still family gatherings to take place. But with all the extra excitement and holiday-related stress, we tend to put our health on the back burner. Travia Forte spoke with a cardiac electropsychologist at St. Vincent Healthcare about heart health tips during the holiday.
Dr. Tosselaris with St. Vincent's Healthcare says every year the risk of heart attack increases over the holiday season, which is why he's encouraging everyone to maintain healthy habits as best as possible.
In terms of heart health, we have to remember that we still need to keep the good habits that we've built up the whole year. That's not to say that you can't live your life and enjoy yourself, but you have to do so in moderation. And probably the most important thing is to have a plan.
Dr. Solaris says maintaining your day-to-day routine through the holidays is important. He says to remember to take your medications, be mindful of your diet, and remember to try and get in at least 150 minutes of physical activity in a week, which can be something as simple as walking the dog or even going for a bike ride. Dr. Solaris says that there's nothing wrong with enjoying or indulging in the holiday season, but nothing beats being mindful as we approach the new year. With Nonstop Local, I'm Travia Forte.
Alrighty, thank you for that trivia. Now, the final 2 rounds of the National Finals Rodeo begin tonight, and it's pretty cool to think that 10 of the athletes down in Las Vegas right now are from Montana or Wyoming. SWX's Spencer Martin tells us what the support from back home means to some of the guys competing.
SWX coverage of the NFR is brought to you by Western Ranch Supply.
Well, yeah, while it may be quiet right now inside Thomas and Mack Arena, this is always a sold-out show every night, and a lot of people who come here come from the Cowboy State, come from the Treasure State. A lot of people take the trip down to Las Vegas to cheer on their Montana and Wyoming Cowboys, 7 with ties to Montana, 3 with ties to the Cowboy State, and these guys know every night it's not just the fans here in Thomas and Mack Arena that they are riding for to entertain, it's also for all those back home cheering them on from the Treasure State.
It means everything to have my support back from Montana. You know, without them, I mean, those are my biggest fans, so it's awesome to be able to see all the texts on Facebook and all the shares and stuff. It meant a lot to me to, you know, feel that backing and stuff because I'm Montana proud and I love all of my fans.
That is one of the most special things about living in Montana is just the support, and, you know, even being out here, there's tons of people every signing I go to or appearance. You know, I'm from, you know, Wolf Point, I'm from Glendive, wherever, you know, we saw you here this summer, and that's just, it's really special. You know, it's like, I don't know how many posts on Facebook I get just tag like the Montana boys, and like, that's really cool. You know, that makes it just makes it all that much more special.
So keep the love coming. We got 2 more rounds to go. Make sure they can hear you from back home. We'll have you covered with highlights from round 9 later tonight. From Las Vegas, Spencer Martin, Nonstop Local.
Alrighty, very cool, Spencer. And while we're on the topic of the NFR, we're especially excited to cheer on the amazing high school athletes who are from Montana as well. Over in Huntley, Montana tonight, a watch party is set to start for the NFR with games and prizes designed to raise money for Montana rodeo athletes. Connor McAvoy joins us now from there with more. Hey, Connor.
Hey, Ren, thanks so much. I'm standing here at the Roadside Events Center here in Huntley, and my buddy Ty around the camera, behind the camera is just going to pan over here. Look at the size of this venue right here. This is for a watch party for the NFR. This is going to be just started right about, or it's going to be starting at about 6 p.m. or so. The actual broadcast will be live streamed at 6:45, and this is an event designed to help give back to Montana high school rodeo athletes through scholarships. There's going to be 15 different teams selected, and including one team with 2 Montana athletes, Richard Champion and Sage Newman, and each team will be auctioned off, and then the money raised from that, half of those of the 15 teams, 4 of those will have buyouts for them, and the rest will be given towards funding scholarships for Montana high school rodeo athletes. So just a fun event that also has a little bit of competition to it, but also gets to enjoy the NFR and raise money for those athletes, like I said. The bidding is just going to be starting here at about 6 p.m. The live stream is going to be starting here at 6:45. If you want to take a look at the screen that's going to be watched, nobody can argue how great it is to have a screen like that to watch something like the NFR. Like I said, it's going to be live streamed about 6:45 here in Huntley at the Roadside Events Center. Folks are encouraged to come out, enjoy themselves, have a little bit of fun with a couple of bets, and potentially help raise money for those high school rodeo athletes here in Montana, as well as rooting for the athletes that are competing nationally from the Treasure State as well. Reporting live in Huntley, I'm Connor McAvoy. Ren?
Alrighty, Connor, thank you, and looking forward to that. In your money news tonight, it's the holiday season, and with it comes the confusing task of tipping. Linda Beccaro helps us sort out who to tip and exactly how much.
'Tis the season to give, and that includes giving back to those who've helped you throughout the year.
And we just get such good service, and we really like the people who, like our sanitation workers and the mail carrier. And
so how much should you give? Let's start with building doormen. Guidelines range from at least $25 each in a larger building where you have several doormen to $150. We asked Street Easy concierge Carlo Romero for advice.
If it's a smaller building and you have a very personal relationship with those doormen, feel free to be more generous within your means.
And sanitation workers appreciate a little extra around the holidays. Street Easy suggests between $20 and $30 each. U.S. mail carriers are prohibited from accepting cash or gift cards, so a non-cash gift is best.
For UPS and FedEx, it's okay, and similar guidelines to sanitation workers, maybe $20 to $30. If this is someone who is often delivering you a lot of packages. Ultimately, tipping is very personal, and it's a gesture of your gratitude, so it should always be an amount that you're comfortable with.
For a babysitter who helps you part-time on a regular basis, 2 days' pay is considered appropriate.
For a nanny, for example, someone who is working with you every day, perhaps 1 to 2 weeks might be more appropriate.
For a housekeeper, 1 week's pay is a nice tip if you can manage it.
Alrighty, everyone, we've got just a quick break coming up next, but don't go anywhere just yet. Meteorologist Mark Haka is on the other side with your extended forecast.